Hello guys, welcome to EPL 24x7. My name is Anisha Hujra, and it's been around 1 week since Premier League football is over, but technically you can't really say soccer is over because if you guys most recently followed yesterday, it was the Champions League final match between Arsenal and PSG. Then there's also been a lot of transfers, rumors, transfers, signings going on this week. So even though Premier League soccer is over, the soccer isn't actually over with lots of news and games happening. And here to discuss about it, we have a new guest. We have Viom alongside with me to discuss about the Champions League final and the transfers, the signings. Would you like to introduce yourself, Viom?
Yeah, I'm Viom. Basically, I started following soccer a few years ago. I'm also a Manchester United supporter, like Anish is. And yeah, I watched the final yesterday, and today we're just gonna break down what happened and talk about how we felt about the game and if we think certain awards were deserved, like the man of the match and stuff like that.
Okay, so let's get started. So we want to talk about Champions League final first.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, start.
All right, so what do you think about in the first half? Do you remember when right before halftime, the referee awarded a corner kick to Arsenal, but he called the half before it was taken. Do you think that was a interesting decision by him?
Yeah, I really felt like that was kind of like a controversial decision, because as we all know, in the Premier League season, Champions League season, any season Arsenal have played in, set pieces has been like their major piece of scoring, and their like strength throughout their whole team. So like I've and I believe that Arsenal that the ball went out of play right before halftime. So I really feel like the referee should have given like a corner kick to them. And many fans I was seeing on social media, like Facebook, Instagram, that like they were debating that did the referee do this on purpose because like he knew that Arsenal really had a really high chance of scoring, and that would set the game evenly. So that would set the game, and Arsenal would have won. So I really think it was a controversial decision, but like at least we didn't have to see one of Arsenal's set pieces. They at least we didn't have to see them score for the second time. So yeah, what's your
I,
opinion?
honestly, I feel like the referee should have let them play because there were still a few seconds left in the half, and we've definitely seen before the referee allowing play to go on well past the limit of stoppage time that was given. So I feel like he should have played advantage there. But yeah, I'm honestly glad it worked because if they went 2-0 up, I don't think PSG would have had a chance to come back.
Yeah, but see, PSG have like a strong attack, but Arsenal have a really good defense, which we'll talk about later. So like it would have been
Yeah,
really hard for PSG to. It would be like them having to climb like Mount Everest.
yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about the signings of this week. There's been a lot of signings, rumors and this week's. And my first question is what do you should do you think Manchester United, we both are fans of Manchester United, so we know a lot about them. So do you think they should prioritize like a midfielder, who can play really good with Kobe Manu, or a left back to replace Luke Shaw?
Honestly, I feel like a midfielder is a bigger priority because Luke Shaw, although he isn't great, he's doing a job. But since Casemiro is surely leaving, I think an experienced midfielder that is proven in the Premier League and he knows what he's doing can play alongside Kobe Mainoo really well since he's a young talent and he likes to dribble a lot and go from box to box. Well, Casemiro helped him hold down the midfield and be an aerial threat as well from corners. I think that's also a really aspect in the signing and what they should
Yeah.
pay attention.
Yeah. Yeah, I also kind of agree with you, because like see, Luke Shaw, yes, he's really old, but like and he's his ages affect when you grow older, your like quality of football decreases, so I do agree with you that like Luke Shaw is becoming old, and we really need to replace him, but like also if you see Casimir is leaving, and that's a really big position to play, because central defensive midfielder, it's like the person who controls like attack, and the defense at the same time. So that's a really crucial position, in the Premier League and if you had to play in the Champions League. So I honestly like agree with you. We would need a really strong midfielder, like, and a really experienced midfielder.
Yeah. Speaking of which, who do you think would be a good target if Elliot Anderson decides to go to Manchester City instead?
See, there've been I think this is true, but like there've been links with Ederson, and that they're closing Manchester United are closing deals with him, for around I believe 75 million I think or 50 million around. And see, Ederson, I've seen some of his games at his time in Atlanta. He's really bright, but like we have Kobe Menu, who's a young midfielder also, and I'm not sure about your opinion, but two midfielders who are young, playing with each other. I'm not sure if that's really the right style to like, you know, if Manchester United want to succeed and they want to win like the Premier League or the Champions League or the FA Cup, they would really need top experienced players. And when you have Menu, you need a experienced midfielder who can advise him, to like who can like help him, who can be his mentor, So I really think coming back to your question, I really think a good fit would be for players like um Sandro Tonali or Adam Warden, who are like around in their I believe they're in around 30s, 29s, around they're either 29 or 30, right? So
Yeah.
I think they've also gotten some experience in the Premier League, so they I think that would be a perfect fit. What do you think?
Yeah, I kind of agree. But basically, I don't think they should go for players like Baleba or like young talents, like you said, because we definitely need someone to kind of counter Kobe Mainoo's like energetic style of play that he likes to do. And
Yeah.
Casemiro really did that well. Like kept his head and he was really like cool during the games and made sure that everything ran smoothly.
Yeah,
You know
but
what
it's
I
like
mean?
yeah, but it's like Casimir also in the last two seasons, he's been at Manchester United for what, 4 seasons? His beginning season and end season were like terrific, his headed goals, but in in the middle two seasons, I felt like his play, it really dropped off, and a lot of people, like also me, I remember we were like criticizing him a lot, and like that he was not really fit, to play for Manchester United, and because of his age, he was like his quality of football was decreasing, but he actually proved himself this season to be a really, helpful guy in achieving third, for Manchester United.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think yeah, he definitely proved himself in the last couple of years. I
Yeah.
think the same goes for Dyer as well. He was not great last couple of seasons, but he really improved this season.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's come to another player who's in the Premier League. Who is formerly in the Premier League, Anthony Gordon. Newcastle haven't been that good this season, and Barcelona now they bought him this week. Do you think he would be a good fit for Hansi Flick style football?
Honestly, I think so. He's similar to Rafinha in how he is able to play out of position really well. I think that's why they picked him up. But
Yeah.
he's also able to, he's really fast and he has good shooting ability and he can play really well with his teammates at Barcelona, I think, especially if they go through with the signing of Julian Alvarez.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, and like, wait, do you know if Rashford plays right wing, right?
No, he plays left wing as well. I think he's versatile though.
Yeah, so now that Anthony Gordon comes, do you think that also kind of decreases the chance of, Rashford being able to play for
Yeah,
Barcelona? If they buy him,
unfortunately,
if they choose to buy him.
yeah, I don't think they'll have the finances to left to buy him after spending big on Gordon. But if he
Yeah.
does stay, it's gonna be really tricky for them on the left wing because they'll have to Rafinha. Rashford and Gordon will all be competing for a place. But like I said before, since Gordon is able to like play out of position and sort of help out in many parts of the pitch at like during his game, I
Yeah.
think he'll probably be able to slot in at places like Cam or even right wing if Lamine Yamal isn't fit fully.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I mean, Rashford, he didn't even play a lot, this season,
yeah,
and now that Gordon is coming, he's definitely gonna decrease a lot if Barcelona, choose to buy him.
yeah. Personally, about Rashford, I don't think Barcelona will go through and buy him after buying Gordon, but I don't think United will keep him either. I think they'll probably cash in and
Yeah.
then use that.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I think we should go on to talking about PSG and if they should keep relying on the young academy stars that they have now, or if they should try and invest in like a star for their future.
I really think I'm honestly really confused because see a lot of top clubs, who go on to win leagues like Champions League, the Premier League, they have really experienced players, but PSG, a really unique team, who have young players they won the Champions League yesterday, plus they won the League One, right?
Yeah.
So I honestly feel like they are kind of over relying on players young players like Due, Due, but also I feel like if they rely on young players, they have a long future ahead because these young players, talented players, they're not in their prime years yet, so once they get older, and they come to 28, 29, around that age, they would show their real talent and they would help PSG, so I
Yeah.
don't even think for a couple of years PSG even have to worry a lot about the transfers, So I honestly think it's going more towards the good side. I mean, the results show off if you see this season. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I agree with
Yeah. What's your opinion? Do you think they're really relying on their young players or should they get some new should they sign some new players this season?
Initially, I feel like last season, especially, I noticed there's a lot of young players in the squad. I thought they might have had some issues with that because there's not a lot of like leadership coming from people that they used to have, like Neymar and those and Messi and all those
Yeah.
big stars that they have. But
Yeah.
really proved themselves when you saw the results. Obviously, they won the Champions League twice in a row, so it's definitely working. Whatever Luis Enrique is doing, it's working really well. But yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. I think the young stars can really help them in their future so that they can like maintain their dominance.
Yeah, yeah. And now coming also to one of a major players, who's done really good for Portugal, who's done really good for I believe he plays for Milan. Rafael Leao. He's been one of the star players, that or I would also kind of say underrated, and a lot of news came this week saying that Manchester United was linked to him. What's your opinions on that? Do you think that would be a good fit for Manchester United?
I feel like Manchester United definitely needs some more depth in their squad for the Champions League and the more games they'll be playing per week. And I think Leao will probably be looking to leave Milan after they didn't qualify for Champions League this season, so that's obviously a disappointment for him.
Yeah.
So I think he probably won't want to extend his contract any longer with them. And I think for Manchester United, he'd be a pretty good fit along the wing as like a rotation player with Cunha because he's a different profile to Cunha because Cunha likes to work in the middle and pass the ball around and occasionally like skill defenders, but Leao's like very fast and explosive on the wing, so that'll bring like a different profile
Yeah.
to the club.
Yeah. I also kind of agree with you because yes, Cunha is a really talented player, no doubt on that. But sometimes I feel he he tries to go by himself, and he never really passes, to a lot of players. And he if you see the first half of the season, all he tried to do is like hit many shots, but he couldn't even get on target. So I feel like a player like Rafael, he would do really well in Manchester United and he would improve the team, especially with rotation in Champions League next year.
Yeah, I also agree. Like, especially in the Champions League, he's proven. I think a couple of years ago, Milan made it to the semifinals, even. So he knows what he's doing in that tournament, while Cunha really doesn't, since he came from Wolves.
Wolves, yeah.
And and I feel like Real would bring a lot of experience and like calmness in the big games, like along with
Yeah.
Bruno Fernandes to help us like control those big games.
Yeah. Well, let's come back after a while talking on the signings and transfers. Let's come back on the Champions League game yesterday. Do you think
Yes.
do you think do you think Gabriel should have taken the penalty yesterday? Like it was such a weird decision. I wouldn't say wrong. I mean, you would say wrong, but do you think it was such a weird decision for Mikel Arteta to like put a defender who is like almost never taken a penalty in his life, in a big stage
Yeah,
to step up?
I honestly agree with that. I think they definitely should have taken an attacker who has experience and like although Gabriel is an experienced player, he like usually keeps a cool head in these big games. He's never taken a penalty before, so he doesn't really know what he's doing. And I
Yeah.
feel like if they just picked an attacking a more attacking player, even someone like Madueke probably would have done a better job than him in a penalty
Yeah,
situation.
yeah, yeah,
E- Even though he missed though, I still would have if it were up to me, I still would have given Gabriel the man of the match performance because he made so many crucial challenges during the regulation period before extra time.
yeah, he did. Because this game could have been over in like regulation time if Gabriel didn't make those tackles. PSG could have won like 3-1, 2-4-1,
Easily.
Yeah, so even though PSG, I wouldn't say Vitinha rightly like got the man of the match award. He didn't really do that much great, that makes him deserve it.
Yeah, yeah. Speaking of which, I feel like, do you think PSG's game was like before they scored their goal? Arsenal really parked the bus before they conceded the penalty. I think PSG were a little bit stumped on how to break their defense. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I also kind of think like PSG's attack because if you see one pattern throughout the game, all they were doing was just passing, 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 and they couldn't. Arsenal were like so structured that they couldn't, get past them, and like I really feel like they need to when we're talking about the young players, and how they're relying on them. I really feel like they should really get experienced players with, especially in their attack, like for example, you could get Holland maybe, or you could get um Mbappe, So like
Yeah,
and I feel like a lot of players would definitely get attracted to come to PSG, because like they won the Champions League 2 times in a row. They're the winners
yeah,
of League One. So coming back to your point, I really feel like they need to improve on their attack at all because but credit to Arsenal also because they were really structured. Like you're saying, they parked the bus before they conceded the goal. Like their defense was so super good. Like one of the best games I've actually seen their defense really good. So even though they
yeah.
lost, they definitely should deserve a lot of credit.
Yeah, it was really disciplined from them for like that 60 minutes where they were just holding down, trying to keep that lead until the match was over.
Yeah.
But the PSG just had to score. I remember in extra time, I think it was like around the first period, Madueke was taken down in the box, but the referee decided not to give a penalty. Do you agree with that decision, or do you
Well,
remember that?
yeah. Well, like I honestly think it should have also been a penalty. Like it was a pretty hard foul.
Yeah,
Like
I feel like he got the ball, but he had to go through his legs to get it. You know what I mean?
yeah. Like I mean, I guess from the referee's point of view, like he didn't really touch his leg, but like there was still enough contact, to say that it was a penalty. So
Yeah,
I really think that there were a lot of controversial decisions, throughout the game, and this was one of them, that it should have been a penalty from my choice.
yeah.
Yeah. Well,
What?
What did you think of Nuno Mendes' penalty getting saved? I mean, Raya has been doing so excellent throughout this whole Premier League season, Champions League season. What are your takes on Raya?
Honestly, I feel like Nuno Mendes, anytime I see him take a penalty, it's absolutely like a perfect shot. I
Yeah,
really did not expect that to get saved, but Raya, I think he was able to read him because Nuno Mendes really just wants to go to the same place every time. He always wants to go to the keeper's left.
yeah.
Pretty predictable, but Raya definitely did a good job saving that. They needed that because Eze definitely missed that penalty, and that was hard for them.
Yeah, and Raya has been like in general so extraordinary throughout this whole Champions League season. He made some crucial saves yesterday only in the final. I remember that one shot that got deflected off, and it could have gone anywhere inside the net. But he kept
Yeah.
staying confident. He got the ball. So
Yeah.
yeah. So do you think Dembele's injury is really that serious? When he got subbed off, like
Honestly, I hope not, but he definitely did look in a bit of discomfort when I saw him on the field. He wasn't really running or anything, and he was not making an effort to get back on side when the line
yeah.
was being. But I think I saw him during extra time. He was getting up and he was really active, so I don't think it was that big of a deal. I don't think it's risking his position in the World Cup or anything like that.
Yeah, but a player like Dembele has been like really good this season. He's been like, I mean, I wouldn't say extremely good, but compared to like last season, but he's been like, honestly, he's been pretty good in terms of attack. Scoring goals. Coordinating with his teammates. He he could also be maybe a Ballon d'Or. Nomination. He could be nominated for Ballon d'Or. So he has been doing really good this season, but like his injury obviously pulled him off. And we would be looking to see how how he would do in the Francis squad, and would his injury affect it.
Yeah. Speaking of which, the substitutions that PSG made, I feel like on paper Arsenal were the ones that were supposed to win that shootout because
Yeah,
PSG
yeah,
subbed off all of their stars like
yeah,
Vitinha, Kvaratskhelia, Dembele. All of them were off the pitch. They're number one choice penalty takers. So I
yeah.
honestly don't know lost that.
Yeah, but it's like, see, coming back to the young players point, that PSG at that point during the penalty shootout, they had mostly all their young players, and like you would obviously expect to have experienced players, which Arsenal had, to just go and like trash them, winning like 4-0, 3-0, or something like that. And this could have easily been Arsenal's game to win. It was literally in
Yeah,
their hands. So really credit to the young players who stayed really confident when taking that penalty. Like they could have just
yeah,
shot it, like Gabriel or Eze on the side or on the top of the crossbar. So
yeah,
they just stayed really confident and calm, which you always need. That's the kind of mentality you need in soccer and in life in general. So like,
yeah.
credit
Gotta
those
keep.
credit to those young players.
Yeah, I
What?
feel like. Wait, what were you gonna say?
Yeah, 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 go on, go on, go on.
I was gonna talk about how Eze missed this penalty. That was genuinely like a horrible miss. I did not expect that from him. When
Yeah,
I
but then
saw it,
it's
when I saw,
also his first penalty, right? Like he's
yeah,
never taken a penalty in his life. Like, why would
true,
these are some decisions that Mikel Arteta should have like thought about more, because why would you want a person who has never taken a penalty in life like go
yeah,
at such a big stage, where you guys could have won it, if you wouldn't have made that decision, and you could have made like Trossard take the penalty, or yeah.
yeah. I don't know why they would have subbed off their like one of their top choices, Odegaard, before extra time even started. I didn't really notice any problems with him. He was the captain too. I didn't expect him to get subbed off so early.
Yeah, I mean Odegaard this season hasn't even been that good, honestly. Like,
But he's an experienced player, so I think they
yeah,
would have wanted to shoot out.
true. What's your opinions on Hakimi? Because like he's been such a good player, despite his age, like, and I think he's the oldest player right now in PSG, right?
Yeah, I think so. Actually, no, I think Marquinhos might be older, but he's definitely up there. Hakimi really impressed me that whole game because he stayed on for the full extra time and the full 90 minutes. even though he
Yeah.
was rookie. That was his first match after he recovered from his, I think it was like a hamstring issue or something
Yeah, but you could
before.
definitely see his hamstring throughout the game. Like he was, sometimes like hopping, on his feet. So
Yeah,
yeah.
hopefully it's nothing serious. So
Yeah. Yeah. Who do so let's come off this Champions League topic and let's talk about the final thing. Who do you think should be the Players Football Year? Who should get the Players Football Year award?
players, for me, I feel like the PFA player of the season, it's got to be Bruno Fernandes, honestly. I don't think anyone else even comes close. I've heard arguments for Declan Rice, but honestly, Bruno Fernandes has been insane this season. I don't think
Yeah.
Declan Rice, after losing the final,
Yeah.
should
Like
come.
if Arsenal would have won the Champions League, it would have boosted his chances, but like now it just decreases his chances more. And Declan Rice has not been good, like you're saying in general this season.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's yeah, Bruno is the clear winner for me. He should win it comfortably.
Yeah, like with the same for me, like with 20 assists, he's handedly carried Manchester United to achieving third place from seventh place. I mean, I know players like Sesko also improved under Michael Carrick, but like who got you those goals? It was all Bruno Fernandes, who coordinated well, and he definitely, like you're saying, certainly deserves the players, award. He's definitely been such a good player this season, and I don't know why he didn't show that kind of mentality like previous seasons. If he would have been more consistent, it would have been better.
Yeah, I think also Michael Carrick deciding to play him in his number 10 role that he really likes to play instead of like a deeper 8 or a deeper 6 really
Yeah.
helped him he was able to go forward freely.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that looks like it's gonna be the end of our podcast, guys. We thank you for watching EPL 24x7. It's been, despite Premier League ending, it's been such a good, busy week with Champions League final yesterday and a lot of rumors going on. We'll see you back next weekend, and thank you for joining. Good night.